Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another Every Damn Week podcast. My name is John Kirby. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Haven't talked to you guys in a little while. Haven't done a podcast in a few weeks. It's been kind of nice to take a little bit of a break. I had a lot of things going on in September and October, and especially after going to the Boeson Personal Story Power event that I went to, I had a lot of things I wanted to process and think about, and it's been nice to just reset. And sometimes you need to take a step back and do some recovery, which is what I've been doing. And part of that recovery has been me thinking about some things that I want to work on. I've got a few podcasts I've been putting together and preparing for. And in this particular podcast, I want to talk about one of the things I've really been immersed in and just kind of studying a lot about over the last few weeks. The different sociosexual hierarchies, particularly personality types for men. For example, the alpha male, the beta male, the sigma male. I've been looking into these different personality types, these archetypes, if you want to call them that. And uh, this is pertinent for dads and men because it's these male traits, these personality traits that will drive us to do whatever we're doing. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to tie these personality traits to every damn day. Which of these traits, which of these personality types fits best with every damn day? And I had some theories on which personality type would be the best type for every damn day concepts. And I've kind of gone through this a little bit, and I did a little more research, and I don't want to say I'm wrong, but I think that there's a blend. And I'll get into that here in just a minute. But I think the first thing I want to do is I want to go over the different archetypes with you and point out the traits that are there and some of the key things that make them stand out. So let's talk about the alpha male first. The alpha male is confident, assertive, naturally inclined to lead, and has a lot of social influence. Typically, they're admired for their ambition and their ability to inspire. An alpha male, I would say a good alpha male example, Donald Trump. He's an alpha male. He is someone who's confident, he's assertive, he is very inclined to want to lead, and he has a lot of social influence. He is the perfect alpha male. So going on into the beta male. A beta male is supportive, cooperative, reliable, and passive rather than leading. A beta male is a nice guy, and they prioritize harmony, and they're generally in a more supportive role. They're not really seeking leadership. They like to step back and kind of be behind perhaps the alpha male and support the alpha male in that individual trying to achieve their goals and their ambitions. So that's really the role of a beta male. Now, there's an interesting one that has been developed over more recently. This is not over the entire time people have talked about these male archetypes. This one is kind of new. Sigma male. Interesting. Now, a sigma male is an independent, self-reliant person who does a lot of introspective on themselves and others, and they operate completely outside the other social hierarchies. A sigma male and an alpha male are kind of on the same level in this hierarchy. However, there's differences between the two. For example, a sigma male prefers solitude. They prefer to be by themselves. They have no problem shutting out the world and separating themselves and being by themselves, and they love it. They enjoy this time in their own head to think and to analyze, and they really want their independence, and that independence is something that I think is a very powerful trait, because they're not looking for external validation. They don't care what other people think. It doesn't matter. Where alpha males, they do. Alpha males do care what other people think. That's a big difference between an alpha male and a sigma male. And in fact, alpha males and sigma males tend to butt heads. They not well. We rephrase that. They don't butt heads. An alpha male feels threatened by a sigma male, mainly because an alpha male can be very passionate and have a lot of emotion driving what they're doing. A sigma male has more humility, and they're more calm and they're more reserved, and they step back, and they don't look for the limelight. They don't want to be out there getting the attention, where an alpha male wants the attention. But the interesting thing is about a sigma is they don't want that attention, but they get it because of their nature. It's a magnet. People get drawn to them, and it drives an alpha crazy. It's such an interesting thought about how they interact with each other. But a sigma male is a very powerful personality type and has a lot of self-reliance, where they don't depend on other people for their needs. They look to be within themselves and not ask for that from other people. Now, the gamma male, this is a new one for me. I hadn't really studied this much until I got into this research, but a gamma male is idealistic. They are introspective, like a sigma male is. But they're very passionate about their personal interests. The one thing about sigmas that I didn't mention is that they are very much into self-improvement, where gammas, they value emotional intelligence and they seek deep connections with their social network. And they want that social connectivity to be meaningful with others. So they're more of the friendly, outgoing type. They really want to have those connections with people and have emotional intelligence to support that, and to fall within that personality type. You got to be passionate about your interests, about what you believe in. You have a deep rooted passion. The delta, another fascinating one, is dependable, hardworking, and modest. So there's a level of humility to the delta. And they're seen as kind of everyday men, and they value stability and responsibility. And they provide the backbone for community. You could say that these are the working people, the people who go out there and they get the job done. And you can count on them to get it done every single day. This is a good archetype to have around you. Especially if you're an alpha and you're looking for people to help support you to get things done. Now, the omega. This one I find interesting. The omega is self-sufficient, non-competitive, prefers intellectual or solitary pursuits, kind of a little bit like a sigma. But sigmas are more detached from social dynamics, where sigmas actually do prefer to have some sort of social connection. The omega tends to follow their own path, and they don't want to be very social. It's very, very highly introverted, where they're not really wanting to go out and be out there with people. They'd rather be by themselves. And again, sounds like a sigma, but a sigma, while they value their independence, a sigma will eventually want to come out of that independence, and they will step out and actually participate socially. Where an omega, they're not interested in that. That's not them. And then the last one, which I had never heard of before until my research, zeta males. They reject societal norms, and they value independence and personal freedom, kind of like an omega and a sigma. But zetas prioritize their personal freedom and autonomy over any predefined role. So again, zetas kind of overlap a little bit with omegas and sigmas in that respect. But they don't follow any of society's rules. You don't find a ton of zetas. There really aren't too many zetas out there, based on the research that I was doing. Now, what I want to do is I want to get into, okay, so for every damn day, this is what I wanted to think about. All these different personality types, which one of these is the best one to actually fit with the purpose of every damn day? And remember, every damn day's purpose is consistency in building unshakable discipline, in building sustainable balance, and unwavering integrity. Okay, all of these these pillars that we have, and in consistently doing that, which of these personality traits are best to be able to handle this? Which of these archetypes are the best to handle this? And I was thinking it was just one. But let's talk about the traits. There were 3 particular archetypes that I thought after my research. Initially, I'll tell you which one I thought was the only one, but I'm wrong. There's 3. So alpha male, of course. So why an alpha male? Well, an alpha male, they have a sense of leadership. Alphas are the leaders. You think about when you hear about the alpha in out in the wild, the alpha lion or the alpha whatever animal that is in charge. They're the ones in charge of the group, and they're the ones that are leading the group. And leadership is the biggest quality of an alpha. And leadership is something for every damn day, where you're taking the lead to actually make those improvements. You're leading others and yourself. The other thing about an alpha is they're confident, very confident. Again, think Donald Trump. Confidence is there with Donald Trump. Any alpha that there's a level of confidence that just pours out. They take charge. And the thing is, they take charge of their own lives, and they do it consistently. It's not intermittently. It's a consistent thing. So an alpha would be a very good archetype for every damn day. But here's another one that I had not quite considered this. So that gives it away. The alpha is who I thought was the best one for every damn day. This is not the only one, really. Sigma values independence and self-reliance. And those are 2 very important keys for every damn day. One of the things I've been thinking about lately is how, if you look at an alpha leads, but an alpha looks for external validation. They want that external validation. And the problem with always needing that external validation is that can slow down your progress for every damn day. Because if you're looking for that validation from others to say, hey, that's great that you're doing that, and great that you're making these improvements, bravo, and you get cheered for it, you need to be able to do it without the external validation. You need to be able to have that independent level where you can separate from it and still be able to do it without having people support you and cheer you on. There are going to be times when you will face a challenge, or you will face a project or something. People are not going to be around to support you. I experienced this. People will not be around to support you. You have to do it anyway. Consistency must continue, even when the people that you want to support you are not around. And you have to keep going. The other part of a Sigma for every damn day here, the concept of personal self-improvement. This is a huge draw for a Sigma male. And for every damn day, this is a huge, huge trait. It's all about self-improvement. It's about making changes and making progress every single day. And so you're finding ways to learn new things and to try new things and to grow as an individual. So again, the Sigma fits just as well too. And self-motivation. Motivation, again, only takes you so far. Discipline is what's going to make you go further. And a Sigma will exemplify discipline very easily, because a Sigma is driven by that self-improvement trait to do better in everything. And then there's a third one that I never even considered here. The Delta. Now, the Delta, remember on some of the traits we talked about with the Delta, dependability and resilience. Resilience. Sound familiar? You're building resilience as you're going through every damn day, as you're working on trying to improve yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. You're trying to improve your resilience in those things. The other interesting thing about a Delta, remember how I mentioned they're everyday people? Well, they show up. every damn day, consistently, regardless of what is going on. They're dependable. You know that they will be there. They will make the steady progress that is necessary. And they don't need external validation. That's another thing about a Delta. They do it without you congratulating them or telling them good job or anything like that. They do it without the external validation. So why the alpha, the sigma, and the delta? Why do they align with every damn day? Well, for the alpha alignment, leadership in one's own life, stepping up in family and work settings, and setting an example of discipline and confidence. That's what I put together for an alpha. Leadership is key. To be able to lead your family, step up as a dad who is a leader for your family. And that's what you are. You're a leader. You're not a manager. You're a leader. You set the example for others. You are showing your children how to be. That is an alpha. That's an alpha alignment. Now, for a sigma alignment, I have here focusing on inner drive and building resilience regardless of social expectations, reflecting the consistency is undefeated mindset. Also, independence is key to consistency without the external validation. Again, sigmas do not look for external validation. The alphas do. And this is where a sigma comes in and balances this out. You have to do the hard work consistently, knowing you're not going to get praised or cheered. Okay. I did my 366 days of fitness. And it was nice when I heard everybody cheering me on, especially when I got to day 366. I've kept going. I'm still going. And I'm approaching day 500 now. And you know what? I haven't had a whole lot of cheers. Not a lot of people have been telling me, good job, good job. I'm still doing it. I have to keep doing it. Because whether you have the support or not, you must keep going. Consistency is undefeated. Okay. And then the last one, delta. How does the delta align in the every damn day process? Well, the power of dependability, hard work, and humility. Ideal for long-term commitment to personal transformation. Again, they show up every damn day. They show up every single day for things. And they're dependable. You know they're going to be there. When I was doing every damn day and I started it for the first year, people were asking, is John still doing this? Is he still doing this? They don't ask anymore. Nobody asks me, hey, you still doing what you're doing? They know. They know without asking. And that's the beauty of a delta. The hard work is going to get done no matter what. And everybody knows it. So it's important to keep that in mind. So one of the things that I do remember that I want to talk about for just a minute, Ben Hardy, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, wrote a book called Personality Isn't Permanent. And I love that book. And I've done a review on that. Personality isn't permanent. When you read the book, people shift their personalities. So for myself, I know that I lean more towards as an alpha. But for a while, sometimes I float back to a beta. I have no problem being a support mechanism for people, for helping, for kind of standing in the background. But I am someone who likes to be in the limelight. I am someone who likes to take charge. I feel better when I'm in charge when I'm not in charge. So I fall very easily into an alpha male. But there are things in the alpha male trait that actually are detrimental to every damn day. For example, the lack of humility. Humility is an important trait for every damn day. And the sigma and the delta carry those traits of humility. They don't want the limelight. They will put in the work. So their integrity is strong. And that's one of the pillars, strong integrity. So we bring in those elements of the sigma and the delta to balance that out. And so for me, I tend to not be a very independent individual, but as I've developed, this is why I bring up personality isn't permanent. I've shifted in personality to a degree. I used to be afraid to be in my own head. I couldn't stand being alone. Now, there are times when I really value that independence. I value being alone. And that time by myself gives me some time to be, retrospective into myself on trying to determine and analyze what I need to do to fix a certain issue, deal with a certain problem I'm dealing with, or to just analyze and think or be. I have shifted really from an omega. An omega has a lot of negative qualities, where an omega because an omega wants to be very antisocial. And this is where I was right before every damn day. I was at the point where I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to be around anybody. I wanted to be alone, but not in a good way. It was very destructive. And omega can actually fall into a destructive path, in my opinion. And that's where I was. But I was able to shift out of omega into kind of a beta. And then as I've evolved over the years, I've shifted more towards alpha. I am picking up a little bit of sigma. But I will say this, I have a delta in me too, because I have no problem putting in the hard work every single day. Now, there's some days that I will not do it, but because every damn day is about doing something every single day, that's a delta, folks. That's every single day work. So I have found for myself that I have really embodied a lot of these 3 archetypes. And you may find for yourself, as you focus on your own self-improvement journey, that you may take on traits of different archetypes. And it may not be the alpha, the sigma, and the delta. Remember, this is not scientific. There's nothing here that says you must be one personality type. This is just something that society has put together over the years. And these different traits, I encourage you to pick the right ones that apply to you. Make your own personality type. Be who you want to be. And just take those traits and use them within every damn day to be consistent in whatever it is you're working towards, whether that's you're working towards losing weight, putting on muscle, you're working on trying to improve your job, or you're trying to work on trying to make some improvements inside your own family, to better your career, better your start a business, work on that, whatever or a new hobby, just something that you want to do, that whatever your focus is, when you're working on it consistently, you're going to be working on it with discipline. You're going to be working on it with balance, and you're definitely going to be working on it with integrity. The idea is you do it without people watching you. That's the whole point. That is the whole point. Do it without people watching you. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of times that I don't get the support that I'd like to have in my life, but I have to do it anyway. I do it because I do it for me. And you should do the same thing too, every damn day. Folks, thank you very much for watching. I've got some great episodes coming up for you here in the next few weeks, and I hope you'll come back and watch those and join me. Thank you so much. Talk to you again soon.